Okay, all right.
Liz Provo, by the way, as a guest today.
Hi,
So,
good.
Jane, I haven't met you either, Liz Provo.
Sorry.
Nice to meet you.
So we talked yesterday then?
Yes, we did.
Liz, what's your last name again?
Provo, P-R-O-V-O,
Oh, like the city.
in Utah, yes.
Yes. And you're from?
I'm representing the Nashwauk Pond Steering Committee.
All right. Well, we'll just start with these formalities.
Yeah.
This is the LocalWorks Subcommittee meeting, June 25th, 2013, and call to order. Everybody is here. We're missing, looks like Mark is missing,
Right.
and everybody else is here.
I make the motion to adopt the agenda.
Second?
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Okay. How about the meeting minutes from last meeting?
I move to accept the minutes.
Because before we do, you sent me some further notes about the pop-up stores. Did you want me to add those to the minutes? Because I didn't yet.
That was, you certainly can, but that was more for your talking points to the EDIC when you
Okay.
presented that idea. So.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, who moved it? You moved it?
I did.
Okay. I will second.
You're third in line, buddy.
That's right.
Technically fourth.
Okay.
All right, so that's good. Public, now can we offer Liz to speak on public speak?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Liz.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me today. Just wanted to reach out to the committee to let you know that the Nashwauk Pond ice harvesting event that happened last year in February was a really, really big success. And through some discussions with Burns, Maxie, we kind of jumped ahead thinking, gosh, wouldn't it be great to have a day-long festivity to make it almost a destination place to come to Easthampton for the day and join us for some winter fun centered around the ice harvest as being one of the main activities, and the other being Art Walk in Fire and Ice, which is their biggest fundraiser of the year for ECA Plus.
It's not, I'm sorry, the biggest fundraiser. It is the most well-attended.
Most well-attended, 400 plus, right, okay. Thanks for clarifying that. And it's held in, it would be February 8th of this coming year, on 2014. And we got together and tried to figure out some of the ideas that might make sense, and one of the first that came to my mind is knowing that ECAT is working very hard on completing a movie about the pond, that it might be a wonderful time to be able to do a premiere, like the first premiere in Easthampton, I think, unless there has been another movie that I don't know of, but
Well, we had one a long time ago, but
so, most recently, a premiere which would feature the Pond movie and also rerun last year's ice harvest, which we have a lot of good tape on through ECAT, and also John Person, who is Fuzzy Clock Productions. He did a really nice interview with people. And then we started building on that to say, well, what if we could do this in the new high school so that we could have the auditorium be used and people get to see the new facilities, and maybe have a soup or chili cook-off contest if we could do it in the cafeteria there, and realizing that the weather is not always cooperative. Why anyone would say, pick an event planner and throw a winter outdoor activity on, you know, it's like, never do that, but we thought that that would give people an opportunity to go inside and outside whenever they'd like, and just continuously stream all of this media throughout the day as much as possible to get them to visit the area and also to see what we've done. Other ideas were to have local businesses involved, and have maybe discounts on breakfasts, and just really do your own thing as businesses, but have it all centered around the theme of the Fire and Ice Winterfest, which we're calling Easthampton Winterfest dash Fire and Ice as a working title right now. So far, we've got the Park and Rec Department. John Mason has said they're in, although right now is a very busy time for him since camp just started this week, but he says, we're in. We're going to reconnect in July. We would like to be able to have horse-drawn sleigh rides and wagon rides throughout the park. And that would be done through Blue Star Equiculture, which is, I don't know if you're familiar with them, but it's a farm for retired working draft horses out in Palmer. And they do a wonderful job of educating the public about our rich history in using horses, how they've served us throughout our history, and horses very definitely served in the ice harvesting industry, so we want to tie that in and really do a good educational promotion on that. So we're booking them. We're in their schedule as it is right now. We've got Flywheel, who will be doing a pancake breakfast and family music party on Saturday morning. We would love to have some sort of an art show going on, which, Burns might try to pull together some sort of something, but that's going to be her department. And then throughout Saturday to have different musicians contributing to fill in all of these spots, whether we can do them outdoors or indoors. I'm not sure what would lend itself to, depending on weather, who would want to be playing or singing outdoors, but if it could be, that would be great. Another thing was mentioned was the illumination on buildings, having a storytelling at the bonfire that was very successful last year, which would bridge the gap between the ice harvest, which would end around 3, and then Art Walk, which would begin at 5. So that's the thought. One other idea that I kind of had was there's so much packed into one day, to have an actual kickoff the night before and have the premiere done on a Friday night in the auditorium with an opening ceremony, mayor's remarks, the whole shebang, and followed by a dance somewhere in town, Pulaski Club or whatever, which would be a fundraiser for the pond. So that's a lot to pack into one weekend. We're going to need a lot of help. Our pond committee has grown over the last year. Yay! We've dredged the dredge, and the original pond members, Gary Golis and Paul Nowak, have done such an amazing job over the last, I think, 10 to 15 years of, doing the hard work that has been required to get the building blocks of restoring the pond's quality and trying to get big projects going. It hasn't always been perfect because, quite frankly, we've lost money and projects have been diverted to other causes, but the pond has done the best it could to limp along. We now know that we need to do a lot of public outreach, we need to do fundraising, we need to collaborate with as many other organizations as possible in order to continue to have the pond be the center, literally the center of our town's vitality. I don't think we want to see it as a bunch of swale grass that smells as you walk past Cottage Street, and it could become that if it wasn't cared for. A lot of what we're trying to do now is to educate the public as to, what happens when something isn't cared for on a regular basis, that we can very quickly go into disrepair and have invasive species and all of erosion and sediment and all things that ponds are known for and are hopefully protected against happening. So the movie that ECAT is working on, has a lot of that background of how did we get where we were, where did things go wrong, and how can we help bring it back to where we'd like it to be. The latest has been the grant resubmission of the Boardwalk grant, which probably all know about, but in July That grant will be formally submitted, and I think by about October, we should know whether this time it's a fit through this new entity, which is the Mass Park, whatever. They're putting it through.
The Parks grant, yeah.
Is it Mass Park or something? There's like a... There's an acronym.
Parks.
Parks, okay. PARCS or some sort of acronym, but, which I think Jessica was thinking might be a much better fit than originally where it was proposed. So we need to try to do as much as we can to fundraise, and we thought this event would not only be a great community event, but it would also help us fundraise through the dance that night, and through donations that might be made during the day. We do not want to charge admission for any of the day's activities. We want it to be a totally free community involvement. So, you know, it might take a little sponsorship here and there to cover some of the costs of, you know, banners, advertising, whatnot. Program, map, I think ECA Plus might be doing the map for us since they've got one that's almost covering the whole area now. So with a little tweaking, that might be used. But certainly a nice program, signage, and getting the word out. So that's our thought.
Sounds great.
That's a lot of thoughts. That's a lot of thoughts, and we need a lot of help. So we definitely wanted to reach out to you folks. And I had tried originally to reach out, I guess, on another topic, but I think it's really good what you're doing here, and having that additional collaboration with businesses is wonderful in town. So if we can take all of that, we can get.
Great. So LocalWorks could maybe be one of the partners or some sort of involvement.
So as I see it, your role is to get the word out, to get people involved, to which if we've got, you know, the arts, city arts, and yourselves, and Eric, you're my next phone call, so you're right here on my list. And through the chamber, you know, to try to really have this be our first winter endeavor as a community. And it might be the first annual of, you know, who knows how many years. But
Oh, can we do a snowball toss?
sure. You want to organize that?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'd have like prominent political figures. It'd be like a dunking tank.
That's
but
right.
It'll be a snowball toss.
You could still do a donkey. We've got a big tank on it.
Might be a
The
little
polar, donated by the polar bear.
But definitely, we'd like ideas. We'd like to be able to incorporate the rail trail for something, either snowshoeing or adaptive outdoor, you know, what, I cannot remember the name of the company that I think they just moved their office out, but, you know, Outfitters, All Out Adventures, you know, something like that, or, you know, family snowshoe, if we
I
could
have a
get things.
suggestion, which is a pond hockey. We have an Easthampton pond hockey club, and you could do maybe an exhibition game.
That's a great idea.
That's great, yeah.
We wanted to do that last year
Pond hockey, I'm good.
during your ice harvest, but the ice conditions changed. We had all that snow.
Yeah. Boy, did conditions
No, there's
change.
too much snow
Oh,
in
you
a
can
shovel.
require everybody to bring proof of insurance, and then you can sell it to them.
That has been our biggest challenge with the event on the pond, is that the city cannot sanction
like it.
any, you know, it's an, you know, enter as your own risk, and they're not encouraging anyone to be on the pond. So the way we set it up was that we were going to be by the observation deck, that anyone could have accessibility on the deck. We'd make sure that was cleared out, plowed, whatever, and then a way to get down to the surface. We would put some sort of construction tape, hazard tape up, and then if people wanted to walk out individually on the pond, then so be it. Now, our ice harvester has been doing this for, I think, 30 years. Sturbridge Village, Old Sturbridge, all over Chesterfield, everywhere, doing these type of historical ice harvestings. He's never had a problem with anything. He won't go out for his own sake and for his assistant harvester with their equipment if it's not safe. But understandably, every community has their own guidelines, and he tries to be sensitive to that too. So, you know, we kind kind of have to tread lightly there and make sure that everybody's liability is done.
So what's the next step? It seems like we
Looks like
the
July.
idea.
July is going to be our next collective meeting once City Arts knows what their grant cycle is for the next 2 years. And Burns thought that sometime in July that would be a known factor, hopefully. Yep. And so then we would like to have a community meeting where, we will take additional ideas, understanding that as many ideas that could come in, you could spend 4 months figuring out ideas and then there's no one there to execute them. So we have a small committee of about 6 right now. And so if people have ideas, I would say maybe come with an idea and a way to do it. And be prepared to take on responsibility for the idea. And then we have a working document, which is this, and kind of a guideline of, time frame that we're trying to keep things ongoing and have something for everybody so that it's in and outdoors all the way through. So anybody who'd like to be part of that process, I would say let me know before the next meeting. We'll get you on the contact list. I've already got you folks on now because you said you'd like to be, so, and we will let you know when that meeting would occur.
Great.
Great. Thank you for letting me join you today.
Thank you. Are you going to stick around or you have to run?
I can stick around if
If you
like.
want. I mean, we're
See
having...
what you're doing?
You're welcome to.
Is it usually an hour?
Yeah, and we're having, why don't we move on to the membership discussion, and before the meeting started, Mary Ann said she had an announcement that relates to the membership discussion, so we can maybe combine that in there.
Okay.
We want to...
Sure. On Sunday, I was elected president of our Northeast Dance Retailers Group. We're a group of retailers from Maine to Rhode Island. So that is going to take a lot more of my time than being a vice president was for the next 2 years. So I had a lot of thinking to do Sunday and yesterday, and although I love working on the committee, and how support local is really important to myself and my store, I need to step down.
Okay.
At least temporarily, until I can figure out which direction I'm taking the other group in.
Well, we're sad but happy for you. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Will you write a formal letter that I can present to the EDS?
Absolutely. Yep.
Will this be your last meeting?
No, I just said to Matt that I would be on vacation the next meeting anyway, but I'll make the meeting in July, the last one.
Well, congratulations.
You're always welcome to attend.
Thank you.
So that leaves 2 spots open on...
Yeah, well, it will leave 2 after this next part of the discussion, I assume.
So Mark didn't respond to any of our attempts to reach out to him, unfortunately.
He did sign that he received the...
So you did receive the...
We did.
We sent the
Certified mail.
certified mail and got the return receipt, and he signed it that he got it. So
Okay.
he was definitely informed of the committee's
Yeah, and we left him a
decision.
couple of messages via telephone and emails.
So the committee's done their due diligence in reaching out with him. The rest is up to the committee.
Just, so did we give him a deadline for that letter?
Today.
Okay.
We said if he, the way the letter was written, was if he wanted to contest it, he could come to the meeting today. And since he's not here. This is the first time we've ever had to do this.
Somebody off the committee?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Because of attendance.
Whatever the committee wants to do now is...
I guess we go back to my, I move to take a vote on whether or not we keep Mark as part of the group. Anyone second it?
Can you make that motion a little bit more?
Yes, okay. I make a motion that we vote Mark off the group because of his lack of attendance.
Second. You take that one.
I'll take that.
This one, I think we should, all in favor, raise their hand.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed, and none abstained. Okay. 6 of us.
Now, does this affect us as a subcommittee going forward, or how do we?
Well, no, I mean, we now are a committee of 6. We're no longer a committee of 7. so that we now need 3 for a quorum.
Okay, now with Mary
When
Ann's.
Mary Ann goes, we'll be a committee of 5, so we'll still need 3 for a quorum.
Okay.
So I think, if...
That's a question, like, do we need 3 or do we need 1 plus, half plus for a quorum?
How do you have a half a person?
No, half the amount of the group. I don't recall, Jay, I'm sorry.
It's half the working group, I believe. It's not the capacity
I believe
group.
it's,
Right.
yeah, I think
Which is what
quorum
I
is
said.
half, and then like majority is half plus 1.
Okay.
Right, so
Okay, yeah.
It's how we set it up too. Like, for example, ECA is half plus 1
For a quorum?
for a quorum.
Yeah, or half rounded up to the next whole person. Half of 5 is 2.5. You can't have a half a person, so round up to the next whole person, which would be 3.
Or does that make 6 and 4? Sorry, I don't mean to...
We got 5 people, so 3.
Right.
So if we had 4
One
people,
Mary Ann.
it'd be 3 still.
So you're looking for 3 new members, right?
Oh, at least 2, yeah. So I was going to say, for anyone who knows someone, there are a couple people who made positive responses to my email that I sent out, thanking them for participating in the survey. And I will send them notes saying, well, we'd love to have you come. I'm not going to say we have slots open, but I'm going to say we'd love to have your come and check us out, and maybe you can get involved in some way.
So let's move on to the survey.
Yeah, I finished, I think I sent an email out about a week ago. I finished doing all the input, and this has the rest of my...
that's the final,
That's the final stack.
The total limit was what, 560?
I don't know.
I haven't looked since you put it in.
I did 32, but I didn't look and see who was...
So it's like 520.
It was 527 on Survey Monkey.
That sounds about...
Before I did these?
No.
No,
Okay.
A couple
that
of
sounds right.
So did you start on the analysis yet, Josh?
No.
No.
I'm sorry.
When
So
you
can
get
we,
I would love it if someone else would start that process.
I'm going to nominate Jamie.
okay, well, at the last meeting, we had talked about everyone going through the responses and trying to connect the survey questions and trying to get some sort of what type of analysis we want to see in order to get the data to tell the story that we want. So one of the examples that was brought up was looking at the age of the applicant and their income and what they are purchasing. And so to try to connect those categories to say that there's a need for this product or service in this age group, or, to see that people who are, I don't know, of a certain age maybe are all traveling outside of the city for working and aren't shopping locally, and that we're not hitting that demographic at all, so we need to do a better job there. So those are the types of things we're trying to look at. So maybe we can go around and talk about what people found and where we think we should go with the analysis, and then we can figure out how we actually want to do those analyses, and who's going to take each bullet point or whatever, how we can break that up.
I know my initial impression when I was going through was the lack of knowledge from people about what is already in town. Like a consignment shop, well, you've got Parsons Closet, and gluten-free food, you've now got Christine's. So it's like some people aren't aware of what's already out there, so they go searching somewhere else. So that was like, education was what popped into my head. They need to know what's out there.
One of my responses, one of my impressions was that there were a lot of people who thought some things were still really quite expensive. They wanted like family restaurants like 99 or Cracker Barrel or something like that. But then I realized that I'm judging that just from inputting the hard copies. I didn't go in and look at any of the people who responded on the web. And I have a hunch that that could represent a very different demographic. So, I mean, we can talk impressions now, but I think we should really look at when we put it all together and tabulate, how many people. Well, although I was also surprised that there are a number of people where their income was higher than I would have anticipated the average Easthampton person having to.
It was 50 to 60,000 was the highest
Yeah,
average.
50 to 60, then
65 and above or something.
then 60 to 85 was the next. Well, the 50 to 60 was the highest percentage of people that responded. Yeah, then it went down. Then the 60 to 85 was the second highest. I didn't actually write the percentage. I just wrote the. Then 30 to 40 next. The fourth highest, no, that was the 85 to 100. Which
Makes sense. The communities where people work.
And the percentage of people that don't work in Easthampton?
yeah, I got that. Vast majority do not work in Easthampton.
Vast majority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the emphasis on the do not work or do not work at Easthampton?
Well, that's true. And actually, we realized this after the fact that we could have phrased things a little bit differently. The way it was phrased, we assumed that it would work. And there were some people who were retired who were paid off by
Right,
now.
I think I read that.
Yeah.
But there are ways to figure it out. Like, question 8 asked whether or not they work in Easthampton, and then questions 9 and 10 asked about their commute. So if they say they don't work in Easthampton, but they have a 30-minute commute, it's assuming that they're working outside of the city. But if they say they don't work in Easthampton and they don't have a commute, they're almost retirement age, one can make that correlation that they're retired. So those are the types of things that we can try to read into the survey results.
If anybody has startup money and they want to go into the bakery business.
That's right.
Yeah.
Is there any way we can see like samples of analysis of this kind of survey, so we could, like Jessica said that maybe that she had a report, or so we can kind of, or we're just going to invent this?
I mean, we have the survey data. It's really, the analysis is, there's that straightforward, question 1, what do people say? Question 2, what do people say? Question 3, what do people say? SurveyMonkey is very good at spitting out that information. We want to see a connection between question 1 and question 40. We have to think about what that connection is and what the purpose is to make, So there are lots of surveys out there with lots of analyses. I don't know that what you're gonna.
Well, like the one that was the original survey that Jessica used as a template, did they make an analysis, or maybe if we could read that, it might give us some ideas?
I have one, I mean, it's probably very obvious for us though, is for the people that are attending Art Walk, what's the average age? Because we could actually, gear marketing towards people that aren't coming. And then we could do the same thing with the amount that they're spending.
Right.
So we would have, I don't know, more available in that price range, or,
Right. I mean, and those are that's the exact type of.
Maybe we could all think of 5 or 10 things like that for the next meeting. We have a list, and then we put it all together.
I mean, the idea was to have that for this meeting. So, we talked about that at the last meeting. And
I don't think we have that for this.
But we didn't have the results.
We didn't have all the
last meeting.
Last meeting was to get all the surveys finalized in and
Okay,
start
maybe
thinking
I'm
about the analysis.
I'm a meeting.
You're ahead of the future somehow.
Yeah. At this meeting.
He's just planning. So I find it incredibly helpful if, when we make these resolutions, can we just shoot an email to ourselves? Do you have that capability, Josh?
Resolution.
To send an email to myself?
Just so to send out the group email saying, don't forget to, take some time this week.
Make time.
I mean, I can make a note to myself to do it,
I
but
tell you what, send me a note to remind me and I'll send it to the group.
I'll do it right now.
Thank you. And I'll just leave it as unread until like Thursday or something, and then I'll send it out.
Yeah, I mean, so if people want to spend the next 2 weeks looking at the data that we've got and just starting to,
Think of some correlations.
yeah, just think about things that you're looking at that and like, wouldn't it be cool to know, who's buying, I don't know, shoes and who's going to the farmer's markets outside of Easthampton and who's going to the ones in Easthampton. Like, there's a lot of data, we just have to sift through it in a way that's meaningful and interesting. So we have something more than just like 80% of people answered this question this way, which is, that might be
Part of it.
that might be interesting as well. But those are the easy analysis.
When you have stakes in the actual results, it helps. Like, I'm being selfish for ECA as far as what I want to know. Like a business owner.
The online, yep.
The online information, that's what you wanted to know.
Right.
If we look at it from the point of view of maybe a business on Union Street, if somebody had that chore or, I don't know, something like that.
Right.
It helps me anyway, because, that's what I...
But as I recall, I'm looking at the results page, let's call it. Because the way we worded the questions with open-ended questions, there's no way for the program itself to do that.
Right, but
The point how many people were 84 to 83.
We can do that. And so, not to be limited by what SurveyMonkey can do. So, although we put in an open-ended survey question for what's your gender identity, and people put in all kinds of answers, we can, if we wanted to know, the breakdown of people who go to Art Walk, male, female, because that interests you, like, we don't have to know, like, can we do that today? We can go through that data and do it in Excel and code it in a different way. We just have to do it outside of the survey.
Okay, so we can't do that through Google to get the average age of somebody that goes to ECA.
We may be able to.
Not Google, but...
Certainly, we may be able to. But there's going to be some of these questions that, like, we're not going to be able to do as easily just because of the way we designed the survey.
Okay, all right.
But we can still get that information, where it just requires a slightly different analysis. You're probably downloading the data to Excel and then recoding it so that way, like, it's consistent. So, if we had been more experienced in making surveys, we would have designed it that way.
Being from the pond committee, do you have anything information that you would like to know about?
Well, I did the survey myself, so I'm trying to remember back what responses I provided. And there were some that were a little, I had to look at it a couple times and think, what are they really after here? And where will I throw them aside if I'm answering this in a different way? But there were a few that were, outside resources, natural resources, what areas do you use? I guess there were some that were redundant because, park usage is kind of pond usage.
There's two surveys that went out about the same time.
Oh, maybe I'm talking about the open.
You might be
Yes,
talking about the
it
open
sounds like you're
space
talking
one.
about the open space.
Well, I did them both, so maybe I'm thinking of,
This was the where do you shop?
okay, that was pretty cut and dry then, I think. Do you have a copy of it? Like, I can just, because I remember doing it, but,
Actually, here's the one.
But don't fill it out.
I wouldn't want us to do anything. Yeah, I remember this.
So, can I ask, Eric, it looked like you had a bunch of stuff.
Well, these are just stuff, I ranked things.
Yeah.
I was going through, of course, I'm trying to read, writing that, but that's why I got this beside me. Just about, I went through some of the stuff, what, out the outside town, why outside the town, and just, I ranked the order, like the outside clothing, the shoes, purchasing outside, and then went down to household and hardware, and the third was the food, like dining out, for example. I was just
So you're looking at where people shop for things outside of Easthampton, or what they're doing outside of Easthampton?
Right, I just, yeah,
And so it was,
more with the idea to figure out how to correlate that, like we're talking.
right,
So the majority, or the most people went outside of Easthampton to shop for clothing and shoes.
Right.
So,
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
and that's something that may be really hard to change. But where people are going outside for dining,
Or
you know,
hardware.
or hardware, there are things that like maybe the committee could find through the survey that there's something that,
So you got Manchester, you got Autoshines, and some,
Well, you've also got,
and Florida, and
Builder
Florida.
supply.
And what's that place down on Route 5 too, the big lumber place? Or 10, sorry.
Route 10, yeah, that's
10,
the,
sorry.
Well, there's Cook Builders, and
Cook
Cook
Builders,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
That
it.
does, mainly hardscape.
Hardscape, yeah.
Landscape, hardscape, right. So that's, you know, that's some of the stuff I was starting to figure out. But like you say, now we have to figure out what's the question that I have to ask myself, what do I want to know from that?
Right.
And, you know, the product not available, greater selection and lower prices, those are the things on why they're purchasing outside of Easthampton.
right, and it'd be interesting, you know, just as, you know, someone's saying the product's not available, but then they're also saying that, you know, the things they're shopping for are things that we have here. And then there's a disconnect between what people think is not available and what is available and
Right,
where they're
well, as
going
we
to
just said
shop.
about,
You know, or like, one of the things I picked up on was that we asked whether or not convenience was a factor in whether or not they shop locally or online. And then we asked also if things were available locally, would they purchase? And my thought is, if you're, you know, if convenience is why you're shopping outside of the city, then no, you're not telling this truth when you say, yes, I'll buy it locally, when,
Right.
because like, it's on your way to work and you're just gonna continue to hit up that mall every time you go by it on your way to work. You're not gonna,
but that was the question, was that the online question was convenience, right? Or
It's one of the last ones.
Yeah.
It's one of the,
The second one.
I think we asked it twice. Yeah, question 20 and question 30.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I think I was doing, well, actually what I was looking at that point was, I don't remember now. I have online why, so convenience was the primary.
right. So, I mean, those are the types of things that, you know, we can kind of discount, you know, almost every single survey I saw said that, yes, they would shop locally if the product was available, and if they, you know, if they were physically outside of Easthampton, they would buy it if they were available locally. If it was online and it was available locally, they'd buy it. But I don't think that that's being completely truthful on every applicant. Not that it matters, I mean, I don't know what it shows to,
Don't you think sometimes people just want to be good? You know, they
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
to,
Right, right.
even if it's a local survey, well, I'd like to do that, so I'll say I will,
right,
you know?
exactly. But so we're trying, you know, maybe that, you know, if we're saying that everything is available locally, people would buy everything in here, but we know that that's not true. There's some amount of people wanting to do the right thing, but it's just more convenient. They don't have enough time in the day. They pass, you know, the Holyoke Mall twice a day, so they're just gonna stop there to go shopping rather than, you know.
Well, it's also an abstract question, so it's hard to
Right.
know, you know, I mean, we're talking about like all of your shopping, or, you know, if you're talking about just hardware, like, yes, if I could get that door bracket in Easthampton, I would stay here and buy it, but if it's, you know, if it's fashion, it's completely something different, or if it's food, or whatever, or even like gluten-free food, you know, maybe you're gluten-free, but you still eat hamburgers, so you're not gonna go to the place that only has mushroom sandwiches, you know, that, I mean, it's easily...
Does everyone, I think, after this discussion, is everyone like get on the same page about like the types of conditions and things we want to try to get at the next meeting? Or
Yeah, I think by next meeting, we should each have some.
Yeah, and also if we did have a sample of analysis, I think that it would just be helpful to sort of see where it goes, even if it's completely unrelated, even if it was like land use trends of the 19th century, you know. You see like how those questions start to pop up or how other people dealt with it, so, you know.
yeah, I mean, I can see if I can find something. The problem is that our survey is unique, so any sample isn't going to be.
What was the town?
It is
the
unique, but
one that
the analysis is...
Agawam, or where was it?
Yeah, but they used it differently.
Different questions, but it might just be interesting for us to see if, since we do have Jessica
Just get our brains working.
yeah, you know, maybe, hey, do you have a copy of the analysis?
I'll grab it.
Yeah, and just provide a little bit of structural guidance, I think, too. I'll just provide a little structural guidance. Oh, okay, oh, I see, this was this subject, but they, you know, derived this information, provided this analysis. You know, I think that's kind of universal.
That could be helpful.
You know, while you're going through all this, just as an aside, I ran across a document from the Holyoke Chamber. I think it was 35 years ago where they did a shopping analysis. It was a print document found at an ag sale. And Ross Insurance was the president, somebody in Ross Insurance was the president and commissioned the survey. And it was very interesting to see, you know, so women who would buy things outside of Holyoke and, you know, same questions, but yeah, interesting. I still have it.
And they analyzed it and whatnot.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I'm bringing it to them tomorrow when I go over for a breakfast meeting, but it's kind of a trip down memory lane. We're still talking about the same stuff, you know?
Was it Goss?
No, it was Ross.
I think it was Ross Insurance, yeah.
It was Ross
yeah.
Insurance, Goss. No,
Dawson and Claim, yeah. But interesting the way they were phrasing questions, you know, 35, 40 years ago, too.
Same information.
Yep. Shoes and clothing, bought them out of town. Now we go to Holyoke to buy them.
Yeah, well, going back then, he was when I was a kid in Easthampton, Holyoke was, the place to go on. Holyoke was a Thursday night shopping place in downtown Holyoke. Well, that's one small.
Really?
But there were multiple department stores and everything.
Well, they thought people were going to Springfield, I think. So,
But yeah, it was those community centers, Greenfield,
Yeah,
Northampton, Holyoke, Springfield.
This is good. I mean, this gives us at least some context, formatting or sort of outline, I think.
I think we can do a lot better.
Maybe, but
We can go into a lot more.
It's always good to see what somebody else did, and, you know, as a way to, none of us are expert survey analyzers.
No, but I mean, we can get there together.
That just helps us.
Are you against us looking at this?
No.
It's not really that helpful for us to just look at it being passed by. It'd be great if we could photocopy this.
I just thought this because we were talking about it.
Yeah.
I'll scan it and email it out.
That'd be great. Yeah. 'Cause I think it's good.
We can also ask Jessica's input as to how we analyze all this information. See if she has suggestions.
We just say this one.
Yeah, sure.
Choose the greatest selection. No, maybe.
So I guess we should move on at this point.
I think so.
Yeah.
With 10 minutes left.
10 minutes left. We haven't really done much on the website. We were looking at getting a new
The templates.
template, and seems like the momentum's kind of dried up on that, but we should.
Yeah, I mean, do we want to form a subcommittee and just, or do we not? How do we want to proceed with that, I guess? Like, I'm much better with deadlines than I am with open-ended.
Yeah.
Did we come to a general conclusion about the template that we
I
wanted
don't know
to?
that we picked
All
one.
of- We all sent in.
We all sent in our
Did
preference.
somebody analyze that to see what the overall,
I did not.
No, but I think there was one that was the most popular. Was it called Impact or something? No, that's a font.
Maybe we should
Wait.
just go with the most popular.
I suggest, I think that's a good idea. Let's go with the one that was most popular.
Yeah.
From all the ones that we...
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it was top 3, so whichever one got the most votes.
Yep.
As
Okay.
long as the ones with the most website experience agree.
Right.
Because if you see a big,
Right.
glaring thing that, we don't see, that's fine. But
I mean, I think most of those would be acceptable. I think most of those templates would be acceptable. It's just I think it's a taste, issue. But the functional motivation behind that was so that we can drop things in a little more easily than the design now. Like we talked about wanting to populate the website with information, but if we do that on the current website, then we have to transfer it over to the other website, and then we can't put in this kind of page on this template because it's such and such WordPress template. And so then what's the point in moving forward? Let's get a template that we can work with and build on and call it a day. And then we can add things like directories or links and video, and that was the main thing, is that we couldn't add our own video into our own website to tell people to take the survey when they come, because if we drop it in here. So then it was like, well, let's have the group pick a template and then we can populate the site once the template's in.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Can you see what the most popular one was? And then
I can't because I didn't bring my,
Not
it was on the
the
Gmail.
instant, but
Let me send myself an email. Let's do that.
And then when she figures that out, you won't...
I can do that. And then hopefully going forwards, once we get this new template thing, we can figure out what kind of content,
Are these free templates or?
They're paid templates, but they're not much. And we
It's like
already allocated the money.
$40, $50.
Yeah, and what do we allocate?
Do we have that?
We never, last I,
We're past the point, right?
No, I mean, it's still this fiscal year.
For another week.
Right.
So if Matt does it before Friday or Saturday, whatever it is, can he get reimbursed?
We haven't been approved for yet. The committee never came back to say what was being requested.
All right, so
So there's no purchase order, there's no approvals for any of this.
let's do this, Matt. Can you find out what the site was? It was the 12 most popular blah blah blah,
Right,
and then go to that site because I think they were all about $45.
Right.
So we can put in a purchase order this week and have it approved.
Okay.
Because I don't think we've already voted that we're going to do this, and we've already allocated money, but we haven't pushed the papers through, so can we just do that? I don't think we need a vote for that.
No.
Okay.
I think I speak for the rest of the group saying that we trust the two of you.
Okay.
No, I mean, you folks have
Yeah.
those experiences in that other world, so.
Yeah, I'm not a programmer though, so,
No, but you have more experience than... You're not a programmer, but...
All right, well, we can sort it out then, as long as you think we can if we don't get reimbursed, maybe everybody can kick in $5 and we'll...
Well, we do have, we have a budget for the next fiscal year.
I see no reason why it would be disapproved.
Oh, we do have a budget for next week.
Well, the last time we put it, I tried to put it in,
So
it did get kicked
it
back.
got kicked back.
Right. And
Which got kicked back? The purchase order?
the purchase
That
order.
was because of the Survey Monkey though.
Right,
That wasn't because of a web template.
right, but then the committee never
Okay, so-
elaborated on what the next step was, whether or not we're,
Okay, so we should
So I
process the
never-
purchase order then. Matt, can you get Jamie that information like directly after the meeting?
Okay, what is it, when do you just do the...
come to the office and we'll set up the purchase order and
Okay. All right, so let's move on. A few minutes left.
Yeah.
Future initiatives, well, now we have one other possibility, thanks to Liz here. How about the pop-up store? Any updates on that, Denise?
No, there won't be any updates on that until the grant is.
Okay.
I'm sorry, when did you find out that? Of course I believe. If there was a time in there, I know you mentioned something.
Actually, she did. She knew more than I
I think they said, I think Burns submits it in July and they know.
It's already submitted.
Oh, it's already submitted and they know in July, early July. That's what she was thinking. She said we could have a meeting.
Too soon.
She said we could have a meeting like near the end of July and she should know whether they've got a 2-year.
I'll find out when the MCC is going to get back to us.
All right, this is the coach, this is the John Abigail Adams part of that deal?
Correct. Yeah, it's a 2-year grant this time around. It will be going forward.
Right, and as I recall, you or she said that it's a lot more competitive, or
It's a lot more competitive.
they've broadened the scope so that there's
More people are.
more people from the Southern Middle Line.
So we need to come up with some larger scale initiatives for the future of LocalWorks after this analysis.
Well, sorry, I thought that the analysis was also going to get into that too.
Right.
So
Okay.
to keep it on the agenda for ideas to come up, but also not to
Right.
limit the group's options until
And be spread so thin that everyone wants to quit.
that's the other option.
Okay.
Can I just, the summer is a really good time for us to be making all those little promotional videos. So, because I will be getting interns and state-funded employees and that sort of stuff. So I'm just wondering if maybe everybody, even on this committee, wanted to commit to making a video about whatever organization and or business we're involved with.
Sure.
IBM? I don't think you know about that. Although my neighbor has a dog, invincible dog fence business, and it'd be great to do one on him.
Right, so if he wants to go to the LocalWorks website and give us the contact information, then, you know, I mean, just like the one that we did with Mary Ann, that was sort of the template for what people can do. So, you know, while we're populating this website, it'd be nice to have all these things kind of working on and then be on standby, and then as soon as we're ready to build that directory, like click here and see, you know, or whatever, or if we had that little rotating gallery. You know, or if we just decide that we're going to make 3 30-second videos about LocalWorks, like then somebody has to decide what that text is and what's the information, you know. Or maybe it's about the survey results, but I'd like to just kind of be making all those little things and designating them to interns and employees.
Is there a charge for a business to have that done?
Not for this, no.
And how do they contact you to do it?
They should contact me directly
Okay.
at the office.
Not our website?
Or through the website is too fine. It's fine,
There's no
yeah.
contact on the website.
Yeah, but that's
That was,
the problem.
That's what's
Oh,
my
yeah,
problem.
you just said to me that when I was talking about my friend who does the invisible dog fencing business.
Right, but so when we build the contacts on the website, so we purchase the
Go for now.
template, jumping ahead and planning.
In the future.
Well, rather than, so if we come up with this great structure and there's nothing to put in this great structure, it's not so great, you know, but if we have 5 or 6 things on standby,
But there is a contact on the ECAT website, isn't there?
there is, no, we don't have a link yet.
We have a contact form, but
We have a
we don't have
contact form.
we don't have a specific
Contact
phone
us.
number or
That
person.
was Jamie at the planning department.
Right. But no one ever put that up on the website.
Okay, well, we need to put that up there. I mean,
Maybe we should put the button in that says, you know, I'd like to make an infomercial.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I don't want those going to me. I want those to go to
Well,
you.
then just forward them to me. You know what I mean? Just forward them directly to me. So if it comes into the website and goes into your box, just forward it out.
Okay.
And then, you know, and then, because then you're not giving someone 7 contact people and pick one. Good luck.
No.
Or they could go to the chair. I mean, I don't really care where the emails get routed to. But
I mean, I think they should probably go to the chair or and stuff.
Okay.
Because I know you have a
How about
job
we go to
that's outside
everybody?
of-
If we have one email that's forwarding to everybody. That's the
There's a problem of like no one takes responsibility for it.
Yeah.
no, I mean, I'm taking responsibility for videos. So if you get any video inquiries, send them to me. You know, and then I would say if you get any web-related stuff, send it to Matt, because we'll work together, but he's kind of in charge of that, I'm in charge of this, and then,
Well, if someone wants to go onto the website and put the planning department as the contact and the
Okay.
phone number. That's
That's okay?
fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Can we make a second one that says, I want to make a promotional video? Okay, good.
Maybe that could be a little article with LocalWorks presents, in collaboration with ECAT, promotional videos, a little blurb about what this is, maybe an example one. Contact Kathy at ECAT for more info
Yeah.
on this.
Yeah. And I just want to be thinking about that before the summer gets all filled up, because we're gonna have an election, that'll be like really busy for us,
Right.
and blah, blah, blah. And we're trying to pull together a literacy show, so that's gonna be very busy for us, so.
So one of your interns goes to shoot this at a business, or they come?
It'll be a combination, it depends. It depends on who the interns are and how good they are. So I'm not gonna commit specifically, but
Okay, so the next meeting is going to be, what, the second Tuesday?
July 9th.
July 9th?
That's what I saw.
Do they have to be Easthampton only, or is this a?
at the moment, yes.
No, okay.
I'm not doing anything for Southampton until they start getting their act together, so. Because we're a city committee, we feel that it's appropriate
City.
right now, yeah.
All right, meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.